Hello, my name's Alec Hopkins. I'm an actor based in Cheltenham. I'm known for Perditus by Cloudhouse Films and Faults, Jeronican and many others. Working on some exciting stuff at the moment and I love what I do.
What age did acting first start becoming an interest to you?
I've always, I think when you're a kid and you watch things on TV, you always sort of look at it and find it amazing. And then I think a lot of people think, oh, I'd love to do that one day. And then it's just a case of whether you decide you actually want to do it when you get older. Because it's a dream. It is a dream. It's so hard. But I think I've always wanted to. I've always wanted to be able to do it. I just always looked at people on TV and just said, wow, that looks awesome. I want to do it too.
Did you have any inspirations or icons growing up?
Well, when I was younger, it was all about comedy. I like Rick Mail, like in the 80s, like when he did Drop Dead Fred and stuff like that. I grew up watching him and just finding him so funny. Like he was in The Young Ones and stuff. Just like old-fashioned comedies that probably my parents grew up with. I just loved watching those kinds of comedy actors. As I got older, I got into as I got older, I got into Fresh Meat, the IT Crowd, that kind of thing. Those sitcoms, that quick laugh kind of acting, and I just loved it. And at that point, I didn't necessarily know that I wanted to go into acting. I mean, I always adored it and thought, oh, I'd love to do that, but I didn't have it set out that that was what I was going to do at that point. So it was more just as a fan, enjoying watching those guys.
And before acting, was there anything else you did?
Yeah, I mean, I worked at retail jobs. I worked in an office for 3 years. And I think when I was in that office, that was when I was just sort of deciding, this is it, I'm going to have a go at acting. I've always wanted to do it. I loved it when I was a kid. Let's have a crack at it. And everything just sort of fell into place. Just started picking up little jobs and then, yeah, it all started to pick up.
And what do you remember the most about your first audition?
My first audition. I did so many of the auditions I did when I started were on tape. So COVID was happening. I think I just started. I'd done a couple of little jobs for university films and stuff, and then COVID hit. So every audition, I did was just on tape. So I'd be sat in my room and I'd be using my phone at that point. I was so new to it. I'd just be on my phone and I'd be videoing myself, reading out whatever script it was that I'd been sent. But my first sort of in-person audition, probably only a few months in, it was after sort of the first lockdown had happened. And I was just so shaky, it was one of my first in-person auditions. And I remember just it wasn't just nerves, it was kind of a bit of nerves and just excitement. And I just was quite shaky. And I went into the audition and I had a real good go at it. Luckily I got the role, but I remember coming out of it just going, God, I can't do that again. I can't keep going in shaking. So I had to find ways to sort of calm myself. Now before auditions I do breathing exercises and stuff to keep myself chill, because otherwise it just hinders your performance. You can't be shaking like that. So yeah, I'll always remember that. But like with every audition, you learn so much every time. And that was what I learned at that time. Keep yourself calm.
What's your most memorable role?
Probably Perditus. Perditus is a film I did for Cloudhouse Productions. Director's Archie Mayer. He's brilliant. Archie initially found me on a film called, when he was casting for a film called Faults, that he also directed. Brilliant film. And after he'd worked with me, he sort of noticed my style, and so was writing something that he liked for me, and sort of got to write while knowing he was going to cast me. And the special thing about that is that it's written for you as well as you are creating a character for the production. So everything is much easier to create, like character arc, to create that character for a character when the director's already got you in mind and created it for you. So it became, I just remember the process. I remember taking the script, reading it and going, wow, okay, I get this now. I get why he wrote this saying that he had me in mind, because this is so me. And it also got to test me so much. It was a 2-week shoot. I was staying with the crew. We were all staying together in these dorms, on this. It was like a massive manor house. It was crazy. And I was playing this sort of old, it was set in period time, but I was young. And it was like 30s. or something like that. And I'm in this period house, and I'm losing myself to alcohol, starting to lose it to mental health. And I played this character that went on this incredible arc from what appeared to be sanity to pure craziness. And that was so testing for me. It allowed me to do it forced me to have to really, really try and push my limits in some scenes. And it was crazy. But it was so rewarding. I come out of it just feeling so good. And we created a really good film. I watch it back now, and it's one of the. It's hard to watch yourself back in this industry. You have to, and you have to get good at doing it. But that one I can watch back and go, yeah, I'm truly proud of that.
And which role that you have played had difficulties with playing that role or difficulties on set?
It's hard to say. I mean, you do a lot of films when you first start. So my first year, you're working for people that are just like you, starting out. So you're asking for issues, but that's sort of what you want, so that you can learn. You want things to go wrong in this first year, and it did. You know, I was in my first year. I was doing university film after university film. These guys are learning as well. They're learning to be cameramen. They're learning to be DOPs, gaffers, directors, and producers. So I would turn up to some sets, and it's like a farce. You know, like they don't know how long it's going to take to do certain things. So we'd end up running way over. I'd end up having to come back in another day, which is just so not ideal. Like, you don't want to have to do that. Continuity can be a right mess if you have to pick up on other days. All sorts of things happen. Fixing it in post, like the classic industry joke, well, fix it in post. It's the more experience you have, I think, the more you realise that isn't necessarily a very easy thing to do. But it does happen a lot when you first start. I did a film once where I had to be shot in the head towards the end, and they've obviously make up to the one person who's been shot brilliantly. They did so good, but because we were running out of time, they didn't do makeup for me. Instead, they were like, "Well, CGI it in," you know. And oh my goodness, it did not look good. But that's just all part of it. You learn these things. They will have learned so much from that shoot, the same as I learned so much from that shoot. And I found myself within a year, after doing about 16 or 17 university films in 1 year, I just absolutely ploughed through them. I'd learned so much that I was getting on these film courses, and I was knowing things about other, DOP jobs and stuff, and I was starting to pick up on all sorts in the industry, which was really cool. But that then just made me want to get bigger jobs, I was like, no more uni stuff. I want to do more.
And which artists have you enjoyed working with?
I think I've worked with so many people. Ben Delaney, oh, what a lovely boy. I worked with him on a film called Jeronican, and I think we got along so well because our characters didn't, if that makes sense. So in the film, our characters were just, they were best friends, but they were going through this period where Ben's character was completely sick of mine, like sick of him. They'd known each other for so long, and they had to spend way too much time together. And we just got so close to offset when we were rehearsing, when we were just, because we had to stay in a tent for this scene, like this fake tent, and we were shooting everything in sleeping bags right next to each other. And I'd met the guy, days before, and then we're shooting this film, nose to nose in a sleeping bag. It was just so cute, and it just forced us to become really close. So I loved working with Ben. But there's so many others, like so many people, and I've loved working with everyone. Like, truly, I've been very lucky to work with such wonderful people.
And is there any other artists you would like to work with in the future?
There's a gentleman on the scene at the moment who I have worked with, as an essay. His name's Dan Robbins. He's brilliant. I always see what he's doing, and it's very exciting. We did work together on Marriage. There's like a Sean Bean program that came out on TV. Me and him were supporting artists behind, and there's a little shot where you can see us, which was really nice. That was towards the beginning of my career, doing some work like that. And I met Dan on there, and we actually shared an agent at one point for some of our essay work. And he was really nice, and now we keep in touch a lot about what we're up to. He's in America all the time at the moment, doing some really exciting stuff. It's really cool. So yeah, I'd love to at one point get to work with him. Something I'm sure will come up where we will. But that's one person. And I mean, in terms of like, if you were to ask me the dream person I'd want to work with, it would be someone like either Ralph Fiennes, who's probably one of my favourite actors on the planet, He's just so brilliant. It's so funny. I just love him. And Cillian Murphy, probably. I think he's brilliant. His career has been unbelievable. And I just like looking at actors like that and going, wow, I just know I could learn so much just being around you. If you get me.
Well, I can vouch for Ralph Fiennes. I saw him perform Straight Line Crazy a few months back in London at the Bridge Theatre. Absolutely terrific performance.
He is so good, isn't he? He's
Yeah.
absolutely fabulous. My favourite one from him is in Grand Budapest Hotel. Him in that, it cracks me up so much. I can't stop laughing at that film sometimes. Yeah, he's brilliant.
And is there any role or character you wish to portray in the future?
I couldn't like pluck a character out of the air and say I want to play that character. You don't realise how much you want to play anything until you've read it, and then you go, holy moly, that resonates with me so well. But I know that I like playing certain genres. I know that I like doing stuff that's quite dark now. I started out being quite comedic, doing comedy acting, but found that my strengths were in like realism. My actual strengths are definitely in playing people that have dark and like sad pasts, and just like really emotional scenes are my favourite thing to do now. So any kind of like Predators, like Faults. I love playing stuff where the characters have just got such a complicated and difficult story to tell, and then trying to show that without words is my favourite sort of technique.
And how do you feel your career has progressed over the years?
I mean, I'm really happy with it. But the first year was really exciting because like I said, I did so many university films, and I did so much work, most of it unpaid, just literally just trying to get my foot in the industry, trying to shake off that sort of imposter syndrome you get when you feel like you don't deserve to be there yet. And then, the second year was quite exciting because that was when I started getting the next level kind of jobs. I started working for sort of low budget films, getting paid to do what I loved, and like that was when I realised, wow, I could maybe do this. I was still working a full-time job while doing it, having to book time off to try and do these shoots. And by the end of like last year, I was getting so much work offered to me that I had to leave my full-time job. And I went travelling, I came back, and it was full-time. And I'm yet to even have to consider getting a part-time job. The acting is doing it for me, which I'm so proud to say. Like, I'm so proud of myself to be able to say I now act full-time. It's amazing. And I mean, I never necessarily, it's not that I didn't believe I'd get there, but so many people tell you how difficult it is, and it is. Like, it's so hard. But so many people think it's so ridiculous that you could ever do it for a living, but it's not. Like, it is possible if you just keep working, you can get there. And I feel it's been really good. To the point, basically, the past, since I've gone full time, I've been offered some amazing jobs. I'm on a really exciting Netflix program at the moment where I've had several different lines in it. Bagged myself that credit, which makes my portfolio look brilliant. I've met some incredibly brilliant actors on this program at the moment, and it's a household name. This program, it's big. So to be on there, to have a few lines, and to be able to show my friends, look, there I am. I did it. I'm on a Netflix program. It's massive for me. That was one of the goals, and then it's just on to the next one. I've got some other work lined up for early next year, which is going to be really exciting, which again is just featured roles on nice, well-known productions. So it's exciting. I wish I could tell you what it was, but I cannot do that.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
What would you say are the advantages and disadvantages of working in this industry?
I can give you loads of cons. So, long hours are horrendous. The amount of driving is horrendous. What else have we got? So it can be quite difficult work with denial, so the rejection. You put your heart into a lot of things. You spend hours sometimes, because if the role's that amazing, you will spend hours creating an audition, a self-tape, all sorts, for you sometimes not even to hear back. It can be, you've got to be good at shaking off rejection in this job, which is exactly what I do. I send something off and I forget about it. If it comes back, happy days. Otherwise, doesn't matter. What else is there? Oh yeah, and unreliable. It's unreliable income. You know, one month you might be doing brilliantly, another month you could be doing very badly. So it all depends. You're completely reliant on your skills landing you something that comes by chance, which is an unreliable way of paying the bills. But cons, you're living the dream. You're doing what you love. I wouldn't want to do anything else. So the pros are literally that you get to do your dream. You get to get up in the morning and do something exciting. You get to do something different. You know, one day I might be going to one set playing one character. The next day I might be going to another set playing something else. I'm meeting people who are excited. Like, we are all in good moods. You know, we come on set and everybody loves what they do. So you've always got a smile on your face, even if you are on 3 hours sleep.
And what advice would you have for any individual pursuing a career in this industry?
Don't give up, keep trying. But that's a given. Like, you've just got to keep going. Like I said before, just shake off rejection. Don't even think about it. Just send something off and forget about it. If it comes back, happy days. If it doesn't, you've forgotten about it anyway. Get your show reel looking good. That's you. Like, that's your presentation. That's the first thing anyone's going to see, and the only thing that's going to get you the job is that what that gets you in the room for your audition. You know. So yeah, just take what you've done, even if it's just little things. Just present something about yourself that shows what you can do. Yeah, the show is so important, and the same with headshots. Get nice headshots and splash out. Do whatever you need to do to get those pictures looking beautiful. Because the change that I saw when I went from having certain headshots to professional ones was brilliant. I used to go quite cheap when I started. Like I said, I was at the beginning of my career. I would get friends and stuff to like do photos for me. They were good, like, they were brilliant, and they did get me work. But wow, when I went to some serious professionals, the difference was so brilliant, because these casting agents have got so many people applying for jobs with them, like so many, and it is the tiny little things that pushes one person ahead of you or pushes you ahead of them. So you've just got to make that show reel as good as you can, make those headshots like flawless. And just keep trying. Just keep batting and batting and batting. If you're not getting a role, it probably wasn't the one for you anyway. And then the one that is for you will come. And that feels amazing.
Okay, thank you very much for your time today, Alec.
That's alright, thank you.
Cheers, buddy.
Good.